Hi Arjunda, if you would want to share your screen, you can do it now.
Good evening, Shraddha. Today on 14th December, we are observing National Energy Conservation Day under the
Yeah, you can see the presentation, right?
Yes, Arjunda, we'll start.
characteristic of the big data is the volume which will add the complexity in the terms of dimension in the terms of size.
We'll start
The
in a
second
few
one
minutes, Arjunda.
called
That's
variety.
cool.
So the first one which is going to add the dimension in the big data is called the volume is going to add this dimension which is called a size in a big data. The second dimension is called the complexity. This is also a dimension.
I'll just like to share that anybody of you who have not joined for this workshop, but is there in this workshop, please join your respective breakout rooms. So I'll just tell you how to join the breakout room. On the top left corner, if you're using a phone, you will find 4 blocks which are there, which once you click, you will get the names of the breakout rooms and you can join. Other than that, if you're using a laptop, you'll find the breakout rooms option at the bottom a bit to the right. And you can click the breakout room option and you'll find the names of the breakout rooms and you can join the respective workshops. Good afternoon, everybody. Today on 14th of December, we are observing the National Energy Conservation Day under the Bureau of Energy Efficiency Ministry of Power, which marks the day by stressing on the need for efficient use of energy and how it can be benefited both present and future generations. We are really happy to host this workshop. We have students from leading organizations, schools and colleges, mostly from West Bengal, Jharkhand, and also from other parts of the country. We are happy to have you in the workshop, Arjunda, and there are 5 workshops that are happening parallelly. And I'm very pleased to invite and introduce Arjun Gupta, founder, CEO, Smart Jewels. He'll be sharing his presentation and his training on forms of energy efficiency design, equipment, and payback circulation. Arjun P. Gupta is the founder and CEO of Smart Jewels Private Limited, as well as executive council member of Alliance for for an energy efficiency economy. His company is dedicated to making India energy efficient, while his other endeavors surround making India the engine for world's sustainable solutions. I welcome you, Arjun. I welcome you, Arjunda, to this occasion, and I would like you to proceed with the session.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Arjunda.
Okay, thanks for inviting me. And can you confirm that you can see my presentation also?
Yes.
Okay, you can see it in full screen, right?
No, it's not there in full screen. It's in the PPT mode.
Okay, you can
Yeah.
see it, right? You can follow it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So happy National Energy Conservation Day to everybody, and thanks for spending time today to tune into this discussion, which I consider extremely important. Of course, the sub-efficiency is super important. I'm happy that our country actually celebrates this day of energy conservation. One of the few things that somebody in the government someday realized is important, and we should all be thankful for that. So I've titled the topic as Tufan, and the reason is all around us. Okay, quite literally, there are tufans happening all around the world because of climate change, and energy accounts for around more than half of all greenhouse gas emissions. So there is a tufan happening all around us, and then even in terms of innovation and climate action, there is happening all around us. Lots of changes, lots of innovation is happening. So today, we get to discuss this topic of energy efficiency, and I'm especially honored to be invited on Foundation, the people who do great work in all areas of sustainability. So, before we get into energy efficiency, I'd just like to share some numbers. And if I can request the other participants to mute themselves to avoid any disturbance for everybody else, it would be great. So please mute yourself if you're a participant, unless you want to offer a question or a comment, right? You're most welcome to ask question or add a comment at any time, but otherwise please mute yourself, right? All right, so when we are starting this discussion, there's a few numbers that I would like to share with you and what would want you to remember. The first number is 1,000. So you must be wondering, what is this number? So 1,000 is the amount of carbon that we can emit into the atmosphere. The whole world can emit into the atmosphere for Earth to still have a probability, 70% probability of achieving less than 2 degrees rise in average global temperatures. So in other words, 1,000 gigatons of carbon is the entire carbon budget of the world. All right. So that's the first number I want you to remember. The second number is 40. 40 is the gigatons per year of carbon that we are currently emitting into the atmosphere. So the world's carbon emissions right now are around 40 gigatons a year. So the third number, obviously, is that we have only about 20 to 30 years of carbon budget left. So we'll have to drop our emissions to zero. If we keep emitting 40 gigatons a year, we will have to drop our emissions to zero within 20 years for us to have any chance of keeping global temperatures to under 2 degrees Celsius. Now, I hope all the people here understand the importance of 2 degrees Celsius and all the damages and the tufans that we are going to experience if we don't maintain the temperature at less than 2 degrees Celsius. So I'm not going to elaborate much on that. I'm going to take it as a given that we all understand it, that this is important for the world to do. And the takeaway from this is that we have only 20 to 30 years to drive our emissions to zero. Now, this is the second thing which may come as a slight surprise surprise to you all. Now, this is basically India's plan to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So we are all aware of Paris, and we must have heard of Glasgow, recently because of COP26. So every country has a plan to reduce its emissions, almost every country, and India's official plan to limit our carbon emissions are represented here in this graph and on this table. Basically, the entire abatement of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, we have done some accounting for where this reduction is going to come from. So even though typically in the news, we always hear about renewable energy, as per official Government of India plans, 51% of the reduction of carbon emissions from India actually need to come from improvement in energy efficiency. That is even more than the share of renewable energy in reducing our carbon emissions. So that is the second fact that I would like you to remember, that energy efficiency, as per official Government of India, is even more important in our carbon fight than renewable energy, but something that doesn't typically get as much attention. So I'm thankful for this National Energy Conservation Day to bring attention to this very important subject. Next, I will take you a little bit to a personal journey. So for me, how did this journey start? So this is actually the view from my parking lot back when I was in California. So in 2008, I graduated from University of California, Berkeley. And I got a job in Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, which is right next to UC Berkeley. And this is the view I had from my parking lot. This is the San Francisco Bay Area, very beautiful place. My first job was in a program called BIJLI, which is short for Berkeley India Joint Leadership in Environment and Energy. So as part of the job, what I had to do was basically analyze what is the potential for energy efficiency in India, right? What is the impact that energy efficiency can make in India? And I produced a research report, which is available online. And basically my research found that we can lift 300 million Indians out of energy poverty. And remember, back in 2008, there were more than 300 million Indians without reliable energy access. So my finding was that we don't have to build a single new coal-fired power plant to provide 24/7, round the clock, reliable energy supply to these 300 million people. All we need to do is to stop wasting energy. So you can think about that. That's the amount of energy we waste. That if we just stop wasting that, 300 million people in India would get reliable, round-the-clock energy without building a single new coal-fired power plant that hurts our lungs. So with this learning, I started working on this subject about 14 years ago. And, then I tried to make this, learning and this big ticket item and put it to use actually practically in my day-to-day profession. So this is me back in 2013, 5 years after my first job. I started working in a large company trying to make energy efficiency happen. So this is a photo of me in a cement plant. Similarly, I visited lots of other plants to try to see how can we reduce energy consumption on the ground. And what I learned was that energy efficiency is not only a very big impact area, but it is also profitable. So what I learned was that you can save 20% or even more of the total energy consumption of any facility, whether you are a college or a university campus or a hotel or a hospital or a school or a cement plant or a fertilizer plant, or you're making glass, you're making chemicals. No matter what your business is, you can reduce your energy consumption by 20% or more. And this is not only possible, but also economically and financially a very good investment. It has very, very good returns. So now I'd learned two things by now, right? That first, it is very impactful. Second, every factory can do it. And third, it is very profitable to do. So with all this learning, I started scratching my head and I thought, what can we do about this? If all of these things are facts, then why is every single factory and every single building still wasting 20-30% of their consumption? Right? It is a natural question to ask. So I went around, some tropical rainforests around the world to find an answer to this question and to think really deeply about this, right? Why is this a fact? That on one hand, all the savings are there, it is profitable. On the other hand, everybody's continuing to waste. So I went around in many jungles, met some apes. This is a absolutely wild ape, orangutan, that I met in Indonesia. And, I thought a lot and finally learned that why is energy wasted? There are three typical, standard reasons why energy is wasted. Okay. So these reasons are, first of all, we are really bad at designing facilities. Okay. So suppose, somebody wants to make a new university or a new hospital. The people who design these new facilities are not really very skilled in energy efficient design. We are not making the right design decisions to start with. That is the first reason why energy is wasted. The second reason is that we choose wrong equipment. So for example, if we want lighting in our houses, a lot of people will use CFLs instead of LEDs. A simple example. Or if we want to buy an AC, we'll go for a 3-star or a cheap AC instead of something that might be a little more expensive but consumes a lot less energy. So one is we're not really great at designing facilities. Second is we don't choose the right equipment. And then the third one is that the way we operate our facilities and our equipment are far from efficient. And then if you look at a household, we are quite indifferent about energy consumption and we don't really think about this subject too much. So all these reasons, bad design, wrong equipment selection, bad operations and indifferent behavior, these are the systematic reasons why energy is wasted in almost any facility that you look at. So with this in mind, I tried to think, okay, what is my job as an energy manager, right? It's a very difficult job. Even though energy savings are there, they are profitable. It is really difficult because energy efficiency is not one thing. So, for example, when I was working with the hotel, there were so many different solutions available to me. I could install new motors. Somebody told me I can install new fans. Somebody told me I can install new chillers. There was another technology called automatic tube cleaning system. Then there was another technology called thermal energy storage. So, how many different things can one person understand? So one of the complex factors about energy efficiency is that it's not one thing. It is a combination of many different types of technologies. So that made my job as an energy manager very difficult. Second thing was guarantees, assurance that if I am doing something to reduce my consumption, then it is actually going to work. So, suppose this new technology of automatic tube cleaning system, how do I know that I'm actually saving energy? That was a second complication. Because, for renewable energy, you can measure how much energy is being produced. But to measure how much energy is being saved, it is by definition a very difficult exercise. So to be assured that you are going to save some energy if you do XYZ thing, it is very difficult to do that as well. So it complicates things further. Finally, what I found was that investment in energy efficiency, right? Money. So every business and every factory, they have their own priorities. They want to expand their business. They want to spend money in 100 different areas. But spending money in energy efficiency is one of the last priorities of any business. So these are some things I learned, right? That is many things is difficult to do. The savings assurances and all are difficult. And then in terms of financial priority, it is one of the last priorities. So what I did after that, I said, okay, Smart Joules, if we can just make energy savings, this is my company that I started. If we just make energy savings simple for other companies to save energy, if we make the amount of savings very, very substantial so that you can see it on your bills, and if we can make it profitable, all right, if we can make it really profitable for other businesses to save energy, then we will have a good business. So we have a business model integrated, better design, right equipment selection, and continuous optimization and operational efficiency by using IoT technologies. So we designed IoT technologies, Internet of Things, to be able to monitor every single area of consumption and to be able to control any equipment and make it run as per the requirement. So that is a technology that we developed that we call DJoule. This technology helps us figure out where is the energy being consumed every minute, why it is being consumed so much. Is it too high? Is it just right? What can I do to reduce the consumption? And then actually control the equipment in a dynamic manner so that my overall energy consumption is as low as possible. So all these things are what we bring, and we are able to reduce a lot of energy. So the other thing is, what is the business proposition? And this is something I want everybody on this call to actually think about as you are studying, right? One thing is technical, other thing is business. So this is a business model that we came up with in Smart Joules called Joule Pays, pay as you save. So, in this business model, what we do is we go to any building, suppose your university or school, we'll tell them that you have been spending X, amount of money on energy consumption. Let's say it's 1 lakh rupees. We will come and say, we will guarantee that your energy consumption will reduce by 15% or 20%. This is a guarantee given by our company. To be able to reduce this consumption by 15% or 20%, there will be a number of things required, improvement in technology required. All those improvements will be done by our company, Smart Joules. There will be no investment from your school or university at all in reducing your energy consumption. You will get better technology, and all you need to do is pay our company a portion of the energy savings that we are delivering at your site. So imagine your bill is 1 lakh rupees. Smart Joules comes and says, we will reduce it by 20,000 rupees. Out of this 20,000 that we have saved, you give us 10, 12,000 and you keep the rest. Now, this business model removes all the risk and all the complexity of how to save energy from the client, from the school and university. They don't have to know how to save energy. They don't have to spend money on saving energy. All that work is done by us. And all the school has to do is, once they have already saved energy, they have to share a part of that with us. So that is why this model is called pay as you save. So all the complexity that I was faced with as an energy manager in my previous job, I thought, let's make it simple for other businesses, and we will deal with all that complexity within Smart Joules company, because we are the experts in energy management. So, what we start with is this bill. We get an electricity bill, 1 bill in a month. So I hope all of you learn how to read an electricity bill. This is the starting point of energy efficiency, is reading an electricity bill. Every month we'll get a bill. All right. Now the bill has kWh, which is how much energy have I consumed in this month. Then it has a demand charge. Okay, so for the amount of power that I need, right, whatever is the size of my building, it requires a certain amount of power fixed every month, that I am going to have the right to consume this much power. So I have to pay a demand charge. So demand charge, energy charge. Now every month we get 1 bill, and I'm sure that all of you, whether parents or you yourself, and when they get this bill, they don't feel happy about it. They always feel that they are spending too much money and that the bill is very high. I would challenge you to find anybody who doesn't think that their bill is too high, right? But what is the current condition? The current condition is that you get 1 bill in a month, and that also after you've consumed all this power, right? So you've consumed X amount of energy in 1 month, and after that you get a bill saying that you owe 12,940 rupees, and you are wondering, why is this bill so high? So what we do in Smart Joules is we move away from this into a continuous real-time information on where your energy consumption is actually happening. So this is a screen that shows that on the left side, every hour, what is the energy consumption pattern? On the right side, every day, how many units of energy have been consumed? In the middle, it shows a pie chart, which shows where is all the energy being consumed every single minute. So you are not reactive about your energy consumption. This is smart metering, right? You are not just reactive about your energy consumption, but you are proactive. Instead of getting one bill a month, you know every minute where exactly your energy consumption is happening and whether it is high or low or it is just right. And what is the expense that you are making on it, right? So that is the first thing that our technology DJoule does. And then, as I mentioned, for every single equipment, so this is a cooling equipment, all the different numbers that are important related to this equipment. So what is the temperature that it is being maintained, how much power it is consuming, how efficiently it is running, all of these parameters of these numbers are tracked every minute to make sure these machines are performing at their highest level. So that is what IoT does. Now, I'll skip to some of the results that we have been able to generate. Using all these ways of improving and reducing energy consumption, which is improvement in design, new equipment, and operational efficiency using the IoT. This is an example of what are the results. So if you look at this is a hospital in Delhi called Sant Paramanand Hospital. On this chart, you see these bars are the amount of energy consumed every month in this hospital over 1 year. This is in 2014, year 2014. So you see January, February, March, April, May, June, July, every month's energy consumption of this hospital before we made all the improved hospital, right? So you can see here in January, roughly 2 lakh units. In June, it consumed around 3,60,000 units. So then we went into this hospital and offered them our Joule pay as you save model. We said we'll come in and make all the improvements required. We'll transition you to a much more energy efficient facility and we will charge you based on our savings. So let's see what happens in the next few years, right? So this is before we started our work. And after we started our work, this is what happened. So every year, these are the next few years, 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The total consumption of this hospital, you can see the orange bars are much higher than the other ones. So in this facility, we have saved more than 5.5 crore rupees worth of energy in a matter of 66 months, 35% reduction in energy consumption. And in the year 2016, this hospital, on this very day, National Energy Conservation Day, won the National Award for energy conservation across all buildings in India. And that award was presented by the Minister of Power. So this hospital, after doing all the intervention, reducing consumption by 35%, it won the National Award for Energy Conservation. Now you look at another facility. This is one hospital in the south of the country, Coimbatore. Again, you will see before we started working here, the consumption of energy in every month, January to December. So once we started our work in this city, this is what happened to their energy consumption. Here we saved 73% of the consumption. So actually what this hospital required was only 27% of what it was consuming. So in 41 months, since we started working in this hospital, we have saved 30 crore rupees, which is a lot of money and a lot of energy. If I want to put this in perspective in terms of number of households, so this amount of energy that we have saved over here is equal to the annual consumption of 10,000 average Indian households. That is the amount of energy saved in one single hospital, equal to the consumption of 10,000 average Indian households. That is the amount of energy wastage that has been reduced by improving energy efficiency. Now, our company is working all across India. I know that most of you are from West Bengal and Jharkhand. Here in West Bengal, we have one client, which is Apollo Hospitals in Calcutta. So we would be happy to host you there and show you what all we have done to reduce the energy consumption of this very, very large Apollo hospital. In fact, this month, they have saved more than 30% on their energy consumption because of all the energy efficiency measures that we have done. So now, shifting gears a little bit, I'm going to go into, well, actually before that, so, our company has won all these awards for our work and a lot of recognition from different places, including from the Prime Minister of India. So this is the Prime Minister and some others. And here I am sitting in the front row, called Champions of Change, for our work in reducing energy consumption and making India much more energy efficient. So now, before I go too much further into energy efficiency, I also wanted to mention a couple of other things. The scale of our problem of climate action is too big. Okay. So any one company, even Smart Joules, even though we are reducing consumption by 30%, 40%, 50%, it's not enough. We need to do even more to actually combat climate change. So there are two more things that I work on. One of them is called an organization, which is a non-profit called the Sustainability Mafia. So I made a rap song for this organization called The Climate Fight. And I've shared the link to that rap song in this YouTube. So please look at that at your own free time. It is a rap song about the climate fight. And, there are two other organizations, as I mentioned, apart from Smart Joules. So in Smart Joules, we work to reduce energy wastage. Another organization on which I am the board of, this is a non-profit organization called Alliance for an Energy Efficient Economy. Here, this is a non-profit organization working to enable an energy efficient India through policy interventions and thought leadership. So there is not only one way to address this problem, but another one, which is mostly on policy interventions. I'll give you an example of that going forward. And then the other organization is the Sustainability Mafia. Here also I'm involved, and our goal here is to position India as the leader of the world sustainability solutions by 2030. So I don't know if all of you know, but 21 out of the 30 most polluted cities in the world are in India. So if that is the case, that we have 21 of the 30 most polluted cities in the world, we should also have 21 of the 30 most successful climate action companies in the world. So that is what the goal of Sustainability Mafia is. And I'm involved in all three organizations and invite you to follow them and get involved. So in the Alliance for Energy Efficient Economy, what we have been able to do is that, air conditioning and cooling is one of the largest areas of energy consumption. Right now, only 7% of India owns ACs, and going forward, this is going to go up rapidly. So India is the first country in the world to have a national cooling action plan. This is a specific plan to make sure that our energy consumption and climate impact of air conditioning is as low as possible. So AEEE, the organization I work with, actually helped the government of India figure out what are the targets that India should have. And these are the targets: reduce cooling demand across all the sectors by 20 to 25%. Reduce the demand for refrigerants. These are the CFCs and HCFCs that we use in our air conditioners. And then reduce the cooling energy requirement by 25 to 40%. And then train and certify technicians, 1 lakh technicians across all of the sectors. So this is a national policy that we now have in India to actually work on climate. So this is the kind of work that Alliance for Energy Efficient Economy does. And then in Sustainability Mafia, apart from Smart Joules, we have 55 other companies that are working to make a better world tomorrow and to work on climate action. And one of those other companies is a speaker in today's event, Chandrasekhar Bhatt from Trashin, who's working on waste management. These are all the areas in which we are working. Now, I'm sure after listening to all of this, impact on what energy efficiency can do, especially the amount of savings that you have seen in the hospitals, etc. A lot of you are wondering, what can you do to save energy, right? You want to get involved in energy efficiency. you want to play your part and do your bit in saving energy, right? So we've all understood why it is important. We have understood that it is very profitable. We have understood that it is very impactful. Now, how do you get involved and what can you do? That is what I'm going to speak about next. So before we get into too much here, I want you all to learn one concept. Okay. So I want you all to learn one concept, which is called payback period. All right. Payback period. So, this somebody is asking me to speak in Hindi, so I will all speak in Hindi. तो एक कॉन्सेप्ट हमारे को सीखना चाहिए, उसका नाम है पे बैक पीरियड. तो पे बैक पीरियड क्या होता है? पे बैक पीरियड इज द अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम टू रिकवर एन इन्वेस्टमेंट. तो हम किसी भी चीज में कोई पैसे इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, तो वो कितने टाइम में वो जितने पैसे हमने इन्वेस्ट किए हैं उसका बेनिफिट हमारे को मिलेगा. दैट इज कॉल्ड पे बैक पीरियड. ठीक है. तो अगर जब भी हम एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी के बारे में सोचते हैं तो ये पे बैक पीरियड बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि अगर मैं 100 रुपए खर्च करूंगा तो वो 100 रुपए मेरे पास कितने टाइम के बाद वापस मिलेंगे इन टर्म्स ऑफ एनर्जी सेविंग. तो जितनी मैं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बचाऊंगा वो उसकी वैल्यू 100 रुपए कितने टाइम के बाद हो जाएगी. सो आई वांट यू ऑल टू लर्न हाउ टू कैलकुलेट दिस पे बैक पीरियड बिकॉज दिस इज द क्रक्स. पे बैक पीरियड इज द करेंसी ऑफ एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी. So now here we'll do a simple exercise. Okay. सबने सुना होगा स्टार एसी के बारे में, 3 star AC, 1 star AC and all of that. So we are going to take a simple example of a 3 star AC and a 5 star AC. So a 3 star AC, suppose you have two options. Suppose you are going into your school or for your house. You have two options. One option is that there is a 3 star AC and the other option is you buy a 5 star AC. Now 3 star AC is the rating of power is 1.6 kilowatts. So this is going to consume 1.6 kilowatts for every hour that it is running. The 5 star AC is more efficient, more energy efficient. So that rating is 1.4 kilowatts. That this AC is going to consume 1.4 kilowatts every hour. Now, if you consider that you are using this AC for 12 hours in a day, okay? So 12 hours in a day, you are going to use this AC and you are going to use it for 300 days out of the year. Okay. And the rate of electricity, the cost of electricity is 7 rupees a unit. 7 rupees per kilowatt hour is the cost of electricity, right? And then the cost of the ACs, the 3 star AC cost you 40,000 rupees and the 5 star AC cost you 44,000 rupees, all right? So quickly, I would like you to do some mental mathematics and some quick calculation maybe on a piece of paper that you have to figure out what will be the payback period, okay? How will I calculate the payback period of a 5 star AC compared to a 3 star AC, right? So I have these two options. I can buy either 3 star or 5 star. Now for 5 star AC, obviously it is little more expensive. Right? It costs 44,000 rupees instead of 30,000 rupees, which is the 3 star AC. So what will be the payback period associated with the 5 star AC? So this extra cost that I'm incurring for 5 star AC, how long will it take me to recover that extra cost? That is the question, right? So I've given some inputs. What is the power rating? How many hours per day we are going to be using these ACs? How many days in a year we are going to be using this AC, and what is the cost of electricity, rupees per kilowatt hour. And what we want to calculate is a payback period. So I hope some of you have the answer already. So we'll go through that a little bit. What is a payback period, how it is calculated. So these are all the inputs I've already given, right? So the first thing we need to calculate here is what is going to be the cost of energy for these 3 star AC and the 5 star AC. So every year that I use this, how much money am I going to spend on energy related to these air conditioners? So what I do, I take this 3 star rated AC, 1.6 kilowatt is the every hour consumption. I use it for 12 hours in a day for 300 days in a year. That means for a 3 star AC, I'm going to consume 5,760 units of energy every year. So I do a similar calculation for a 5 star AC. 1.4 kilowatt multiplied by 12 hours per day multiplied by 300 days per year. That comes out to 5,040 units of energy, kilowatt hours. Now, every unit of energy cost me 7 rupees. So I multiply 5,760 into 7 and I get 40,320 rupees. Then on the other hand, I multiply 5,000 by 7, I get 35,000 rupees. So now what do I know, right? The first thing that strikes me is that of AC that costs 30,000 rupees actually consumes, I have to spend even more on energy consumption of this AC in 1 year. So AC I can buy for 30,000, but I'll be spending 40,000 rupees only on energy consumption for this AC. On the other hand, I can buy a 5-star AC. I spend a little more, 44,000, but my energy consumption per year is going to be 35,000. So I'm going to save 5,000 rupees every year if I buy a 5-star AC compared to a 3-star AC. I'm going to be saving 5,000 rupees every year. 5,000 रुपए हर साल मेरे बचेंगे अगर मैं 5-star AC खरीदता हूँ. वो 5,000 रुपए बचेंगे, उसके लिए I'm going to have to spend extra खर्चा होगा 14,000 रुपए, 14,000 rupees extra. So now my payback period is very simple to calculate, right? I have to spend 14,000 rupees extra and I'm going to save 5,000 rupees every year. That means my payback period is 2.78 years. 14,000 divided by 5,040, right? So what does this mean? This means that in 2.78 years, I will recover the extra cost of my 5-star AC. And we all know that an AC, once you buy an AC, lasts for 10 years, 15 years. And within less than 3 years, my cost of this AC is going to come back. So that means when I'm going to buy an AC, I should always buy the 5-star AC, right? So this is one key calculation and mental mathematics that we should always do. And I would like you to learn and take away from this conversation. This concept of payback period and how it is calculated. Because everything we have an option to buy much more energy efficient items. All right. So this is an example where we saw 5-star AC having payback period of less than 3 years compared to a 3-star AC. So, I hope you learned that payback period analysis. So what I would like to propose for all of you, what is it that you can do? First of all, please calculate payback period. Okay. You should calculate payback period and explain why your house, school, university should use only 5-star appliances. Okay. Maybe the people who buy these things, they don't know, they are not aware of this concept of payback period. They are not able to calculate, okay, they only see that, okay, 5-star AC costs more, so why should I buy it? But they don't realize that within 1 year, I will consume and, pay more energy than the cost of the AC itself. And if I buy more efficient, less than 3 years, I will get it back. So you as, enlightened students should be educating and explaining to your home, schools and universities that the payback period is very short. Calculate it, show it to them and say, let's only buy 5-star rated appliances. So that is the first thing. The second thing that you can do is choose fans and coolers before air conditioners. So, fans and coolers are extremely effective. And if I tell you my own story, I live in Delhi. Delhi is a very hot city in the summer, especially. I used only fans, even in the summer. I challenged myself, can I survive on only fans? I have all the ACs and many ACs, but I don't use. For most of the year, I am able to be comfortable only with fans. And only when it gets very humid, do I have to switch on the air conditioner a little bit. So use fans and coolers before we use air conditioners. So if you look at the energy consumption and cost, okay, so this is not only for the environment, but also for our pocket that I'm talking, right? Also for economics. So if I use a fan, right, my cost will be 1,500 rupees per year on energy from a fan. The same, if I use the cooler for the same amount of time, my cost of energy will be 5,000 rupees per year, which is 3 times that of a fan. Now, if I use an AC instead of a fan or a cooler for the same amount of time in a year, my cost will be 35,000 rupees a year, which is 23 fans. So one AC consumption equal to 23 fans. So what I've done in Delhi is I have two fans. I have one ceiling fan, and then I have one fan that I put on the floor fan, and it points right towards me. So I get enough air and I feel comfortable. And you know, AC is only required when the humidity level is very high. So I save a lot of money by using more fans and less AC. So this is something that we should also think about. The next is choose BLDC fans. So this is an advancement in technology that has happened recently called brushless DC motor fans. It's a better technology of fans. Now we'll find that in our houses, schools, universities, typically we'll have those, you know, regular ceiling fans. Now these regular fans, let me show you some numbers and economics. So a regular fan costs 1,300 rupees to buy. Now it consumes 70 watts of power. So if I run a regular fan for 18 hours a day and I use it for 260 days in a year, I will spend 3,276 rupees on the energy consumption of this fan. Whereas if I buy a BLDC fan, which is a newer technology fan, and these are two companies that sell this fan, Atomberg, Superfan. By the way, these are remote controlled fans, so much cooler than a regular fan. Remote controlled brushless DC motor fans. They'll cost me a little more. They cost around 2,500 rupees. But the power is only 32 watts. So if I'm using it instead of the other fan, I will be spending only 1,500 rupees on energy. So the extra 1,200 rupees that I have to pay for a BLDC fan, I will be saving even more than that in less than 1 year. So within 10 months, that extra cost will be recovered. And obviously this fan will also last me for 10 years. So the next thing that we can do is choose BLDC fans. Even if I have existing fan, replace it with BLDC fan. The next thing, which I was very happy to see mentioned also in the flyer that was shared with you by the event organizer, Switch On, was about room temperature of ACs, right? So we have this bad habit, a lot of us in India have this bad habit of putting the temperature of the AC as low as possible. Whatever is the minimum setting, we go and put it. Now, this is some measurements that we took of the same AC. Okay, we put it at a set point of 22 degrees, different set points, and saw what is the energy being consumed. So if you look at the red line, this is of one AC. When the set point was 20 degrees, it was consuming 1.2 kilowatt. Then just to 6, it will be lot. Another AC, if you look the blue line, this was installed somewhere else. When the setting was 24, it was consuming 0.8 kilowatt, and 18, it was consuming 1. So this shows that the energy consumption is much higher, much higher. Same AC consumes a lot more energy when the temperature set point is at a low temperature. So another input is, please, temperature AC set point, जितना ऊंचा रखेंगे, जितना हाई रखेंगे, उतना अच्छा रहेगा, नहीं तो बहुत ज्यादा बिजली वेस्ट होता है. So recommendation यही रहेगा कि उसको 26 डिग्री के ऊपर रखिए. Next is a very interesting concept, बहुत ही interesting concept, इसको बोलते हैं vampire power. Vampire power. तो हम सबके घर में, सबके स्कूल और यूनिवर्सिटी में बहुत सारी वैम्पायर पावर है. तो व्हाट इज वैम्पायर पावर? ये क्या चीज है? हमें लगता है इतनी सारी हमारे हर जगह में काफी सारी चीजें प्लग्ड इन रहती हैं. मोबाइल फोन का चार्जर, कंप्यूटर, लैपटॉप कंप्यूटर, एलसीडी टीवी, कंप्यूटर का डिस्प्ले, हमारा डीवीआर या डिजिटल सेट टॉप बॉक्स जो हमारा होता है, केबल, या कोई गेमिंग एक्सबॉक्स, ये सब चीजें हम ऑफ तो कर देते हैं रिमोट से, लेकिन उसका प्लग ऑन रखते हैं, उसको प्लग से निकालते नहीं है. तो ये ऑफ सिचुएशन में भी जो पावर कंज्यूम होती है उसको बोलते हैं वैम्पायर पावर. तो ये काफी सारी रिसर्च इसमें हुई है कि ये वैम्पायर लोड, आपको लग रहा है कि आपने ऑफ कर दिया है, लेकिन वो इक्विपमेंट फिर भी स्टैंड बाय मोड में या किसी मोड में रहेगी, वो भी कंज्यूम करती रहती है पावर हमेशा. तो इतना कंज्यूम करती है कि ऑफ पोजीशन में भी ये 10 से 15% आपकी जो एनर्जी कंजम्पशन है ये सिर्फ इन्हीं लोड्स में जा रही है जो ऑफ कंडीशन में है। तो इसको हम बोलते हैं वैम्पायर पावर। सो सबसे बड़ा वैम्पायर आपके घर में है गीजर, सबसे बड़ा वैम्पायर। तो गीजर को ऑफ कीजिए, ये बहुत ज्यादा कंजम्पशन लेता है, जितना एसी लेता है उतना ही गीजर लेता है। तो हमारा क्या काम है, सारा इक्विपमेंट जो भी है जब यूज हो गया उसको ऑफ करके अनप्लग करके छोड़ना। तो फिर आपका एनर्जी कंजम्पशन अपने आप भी 10-15% बच जाएगा। नेक्स्ट इज अभी ये सब हमने प्रैक्टिकल एनर्जी सेविंग टिप्स हमने यूज कर लिए हैं। अभी हमारा एक और चीज जो हमें करना है एज स्टूडेंट्स, वी नीड टू लर्न। हमारे को अपने आप को एजुकेट करना है। अभी क्लास में या ऐसे सेशन जो आप कर रहे हैं बहुत अच्छे हैं, ये आप करते रहिए। लेकिन जो हमारा बाकी टाइम है, सपोज हम गाड़ी में एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जा रहे हैं, वर्कआउट कर रहे हैं, एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं, बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो दुनिया में हो रही हैं जो हमें पता होनी चाहिए। और आजकल ये सारी चीजें इतनी अच्छी तरह हमारे को फोन पे अवेलेबल रहती हैं, कंप्यूटर पे अवेलेबल रहती हैं। तो ये है थोड़े से पॉडकास्ट जो मैं सुनता हूँ। इकोनॉमिस्ट का पॉडकास्ट हो गया, MIT का हो गया, ये सारे पॉडकास्ट हैं जो हमारे को एजुकेट करते हैं कि हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं क्लाइमेट एक्शन के लिए, अपना ग्लोबल वार्मिंग के लिए हम क्या क्या कर सकते हैं। तो ये पॉडकास्ट सुनिए, फॉलो कीजिए, इनको सुनिए। हर हफ्ते हर दूसरे दिन नया नया इंफॉर्मेशन पता चलता है कि दुनिया में क्या क्या हो रहा है, और हम फिर हमारे को भी आइडियाज मिलेंगे कि हम और क्या कर सकते हैं। ये जो सिंपल चीजें अपने घर में, यूनिवर्सिटी में, ये तो करेंगे ही करेंगे, लेकिन और बड़ी चीजें हम क्या कर सकते हैं, किस चीज के ऊपर हम काम कर सकते हैं टू बी एबल टू डू सम गुड क्लाइमेट एक्शन। नेक्स्ट, दिस इज अ फोटो। ये एक फोटो है, इसमें मैं भी हूं। आप देखेंगे राइट में, सबसे राइट में ये दो डंडियां लेके मैं खड़ा हूं। नाउ नेक्स्ट थिंग इज, आप लोग जो यूनिवर्सिटी में हैं, ये स्कूल में हैं, ये फोटो मेरी यूनिवर्सिटी में से है। तो आप लोगों के पास भी बहुत सारी ऐसी फोटोज होंगी अपने फ्रेंड्स की। सो एक
I cannot understand Hindi.
Sorry? Okay, so I'll continue. One more thing which I'll want to say, एक और चीज जो मैं बताना चाहूंगा वो है कि आप
Sir, I said I cannot understand Hindi.
Oh, okay, so I should speak in English. Fine, I'll speak in English. That is easier for me also. So next thing is about the people who are around you. So these are the people that I went to college with. And network, next thing I want to tell you is to make a really good network. Whenever you are there in school, university, the people who are around you are very, very important for your life. So here is me, and look at some of the people over here. This person, Sarah, one of my friends, is now one of the largest climate philanthropic investors in the world. Okay. So whenever you want to talk about climate action, she is doing philanthropic work in this area. Look at another person here. This friend of mine, his name is Mike. He is investing from MIT Engine, which is a big venture capital firm, into new climate solutions. Another person here he's developing some very large wind power projects all across the world. Another person over here, Shreya, she has got a company to make pulp and paper industry very, 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 very efficient. Another person here, David, he is managing Bill Gates's Breakthrough Energy Fund, which is the largest investment fund in the world on energy. And he is the leader of that. So, back when this photo was taken in 2010, none of us were doing this stuff. We were just friends in college. Now, all of us look at the work that is being done. So one of the things I would like to mention here is to build your network and have good friendships, especially with like-minded people. So if you are interested in climate and you find somebody else who's also interested in climate, talk about the subject, talk to each other, build good friendships, and stay in touch over time to make you successful. Next thing is, this is beyond energy efficiency. What can we do? So this is one recent book written by John Doerr. John Doerr is one of the large investors in climate and other areas. He has written a new book called Speed and Scale. So when we look at climate change, he has made a plan of how the world is going to get to net zero. So I started this talk by saying that the whole world has only 30 years maximum remaining. That is the carbon budget that we have, 30 years of carbon emissions to be able to reach to zero emissions. So what our friend John Doerr here is done, he has made a plan for how the world is going to get to net zero emissions within the next 30 years by 2050. So, one of the things I would invite you to do is to think about building your career, okay, whatever career you build for yourself, to try to work on one of these problem statements, to be able to help our world get to zero emissions by 2050. So these areas of work are: number one, electrified transportation, electric vehicles. Number two, decarbonize the electric grid, move away from coal-fired and gas-fired power plants into more solar and wind energy. Number three is fix our food system, the way the food is grown, and also food waste. Right? Fix the food system, which is a large contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. The next is to protect nature. So all the biodiversity and all the green plants that we have all around the world, protect nature. Avoid deforestation. That is point number 4. Point number 5 is clean up industry. So right now, the industry that we have, cement, steel, all of these industries contribute a very significant amount to greenhouse gas emissions. So whatever solutions are there to clean up industry and get them off of these fossil fuels, new ways of making steel, new ways of making cement. And then 6 is to actually remove carbon from the atmosphere itself. Carbon capture and storage, remove carbon from the air. So these are 6 big themes and big areas which are required to be worked upon to get our climate to net zero. And, we can work, from a policy angle. You can get into politics, you can start a movement, you can do innovation in technology, you can start investing, whatever suits you. One of these 6 areas is going to be very impactful, and highly advised to align yourself, to one of these areas to work with as your profession, as you think about where, how to develop your own life.
Arjunda, we will be wrapping up in the next 4 to 5 minutes. So
Yeah, so I'm done with my presentation. The last, this is my last slide. Okay. So if there is one thing I would leave you with for today, it would be this, which is this Japanese concept called Ikigai. Ikigai. So, this concept is a Japanese concept, and it as you think about your careers, this is a tool to think about your own personal careers, right? So what this concept says is that whatever you choose to work on, right, we should always find Ikigai in our lives. So Ikigai is the intersection of 4 different things, right? What you love is first, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. So if you find an area of work at the intersection of these 4 things, what you love, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs, then you will be functioning in this area called Ikigai. And if you find your Ikigai, then you will be happy and you'll have a meaningful life. So this is the idea I would leave you with, and I would invite you to read this book about Ikigai, and find an intersection of what you love, what you are good at, what you can be paid for, and what the world needs. And I showed you 6 areas in climate where you can find your Ikigai. So that's about it from my side today. The last thing I would leave you with is President Obama, President Barack Obama, who I really admire. So he made this one quote at the funeral of John McCain, who he was running against for president of the United States. And this is, today is only one day in all the days that will ever be. Okay. Today is only one day in all the days that will ever be. But what will happen in all the days that will ever come can depend on what you do today. So I really love this quote because it urges us to act now and to act today. So we have learned some practical things that we can do: payback period, ghost vampire loads, star labeled products, and so let's practice all of this. Let's start today and join the climate fight. So thank you everybody for listening patiently. For a very long time I've been speaking, and appreciate again, thanks to Switch On for giving me this opportunity, and wish all the best to all the people who have tuned in and spent so much time on National Energy Conservation Day to listen to this very important subject. So thank you very much.
Sir, I had a question.
Yes, please. Open
Yes.
to questions. All
Sir,
kinds are welcome.
Sir, you said that we are going towards the zero carbon. So, but how will it be possible? Like humans also breathe in oxygen, give up carbon. Animals also do the same, and plants also need carbon dioxide because so that they can be alive. So then, how will zero carbon work out?
That's a great question. It's a fantastic question, right? And thank you for asking this question about zero carbon, right? So the point is not that we are going to eliminate the presence of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That is not the point. In fact, a very healthy level, right? What is this number? 450 parts per million. That is the right amount, the maximum amount of carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere, which is healthy for the planet. Okay. So when we are talking about zero carbon, we don't mean that there should be no carbon in the atmosphere at all. In fact, 450 parts per million. So for every million parts of the atmosphere, 450 parts belong to carbon. That is what you're talking about, plants breathing and all that stuff. So carbon dioxide is very important in the atmosphere. When we talk about net zero, we mean that we cannot emit extra carbon into the atmosphere, which leads to an increase in the concentration of carbon. So 450 parts per million are very important, but we should not be emitting more, which leads to an increase in the concentration of CO2. That is what we are talking about. Just like everything else in life, there is a balance, and the right balance for carbon dioxide concentration is 450. So anyway, thanks for that question, and I invite other questions as well. And
We'll
sorry,
be
I spoke
wrapping.
mostly in English.
We will be wrapping up now and moving into the main room.
Nature of the roots क्या है? पता है quantitation में कितने roots
Closing
हैं?
all breakout rooms.
ऐसा होगा real है कि unequal है कि equal है कि no है कि rational roots है कि ऐसा है, इसको decide करता है कौन? B square minus 4AC. इसीलिए इस discriminant B square minus 4AC यदि 0 के बराबर हो तो roots are real and equal. Roots are real and equal. यदि B square minus 4AC greater than 0 हो, roots are real and unequal. जैसे आप कैसे समझ रहे हैं? नेचर के रूट्स निकालने के लिए क्वेश्चन हम दिखा रहे हैं आपको. देखिए ना, करिए. अब B square minus 4AC यदि less than 0 हो तो no real roots.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Now we have a small video that we would like to play. Thank you for being here with us at the presentation.
Electricity is something that is considered most important to survive in the competitive world today. Most of us spend our days in school, and I think I speak for all that most of us plan our schedule from daybreak. stringent restriction on usage of electricity does not necessarily refer to restricted usage of electricity in lights and fans that costs us our efficiency at work in terms of time, but rather restricting its wastage, which is to say, rein in our bad habit of leaving the lights and fans running as we leave one room for the next. We can also restrict our usage of air conditioners and microwaves, instead opting for, say, coolers and food that is capable of being stored mostly at room temperature without decay, thus limiting the need to heat it up. But of course, we cannot function without our laptops and computers in the lockdown. But we can opt for indoor and outdoor games instead of video games and mobile games that demand an unsolicited usage of a few extra joules. Yes, energy is measured in joules, and that is all we think of while working out our physics and chemistry problems. But what about the environmental impact of these few extra joules? You see, energy in our current world is vastly dependent on thermal and coal-based power plants. The shift to solar and other renewable energy is still taking place. Of course, the government is facilitating the establishment of a more solar-based energy ecosystem by sponsoring solar lamps and regulating the investment in the renewable sector by those already engaged in the non-renewable ones. The usage of energy in a non-judicial fashion is causing the release of pollutants like carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, oxides of nitrogen and particulate matter. With such tiny particles floating in the atmosphere, the risk extends to those of size 2.5 micrometer. That is 2.5 into 10 to the power of -6 meters. And there is no way we can imagine the size. The smaller the size of the particulate matter, the deeper its reach into our lungs, and the denser the threat. The greenhouse gas effect is also emphasized in the process of indiscriminate use of electricity sourced from non-renewable sources. So, other than switching to LED lights, what can we do? Well, the easiest solution to imagine and the most critical one to actually implement is to achieve a shift into the renewable sector. Using solar lamps, fans, and choosing to use electricity generated by harnessing the wind, the tide, the molasses, and even the ionization that takes place in the salt water that can otherwise be difficult to use without treatment.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to all of you for joining this session and especially the speakers for making these presentations. All of you run important organizations, and your time is very, very valuable. So thank you so much for taking all this time. As a wrap up, what we could do is just hear from all of you, all the speakers, of final comments, thoughts that you have that you would like to share with the entire group that is here with us today. And also, if there are some thoughts, comments from the participants, we could take a few thoughts, comments. I mean, you may have lots of questions. I'm not sure if we will have time for those questions, but some thoughts, comments are always welcome. So if you can just sort of go around the table with the speakers and hear your thoughts. Arjun Bhai, do you want to go first? Right, my bad. So Piyush, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was very nice, very interactive session that I had. There were quite a few students who were extremely participative. So it's always great to be talking to a bunch of motivated young chaps, and I'm really looking forward to what we can do. It's a great initiative by Switch On to just spread more awareness about energy conservation. It's a great day wherein each of us can group together and just figure out how we can make our lives much more meaningful and much more sustainable. So thank you, Switch On, and I really thank all the participation from the students who joined in.
Great. It's always nice to reach out to and speak to all of these budding young minds. I mean, they know so much more than what we've often known. Chandrasekhar Bhai, Mr. Chandrasekhar Bhatt, if you would like to come in and also share your thoughts with everyone, the entire group.
Thank you, Vinay. I mean, I'm so happy that I got to make it here today. Didn't realize how time flew by. I mean, I was really enjoying talking to the kids, and I was really surprised that I had to, get the conversation to a close so soon. I would really love to keep this conversation moving forward. There were quite a few questions which I was not able to address due to lack of time. So I really invite everybody here to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me even after our workshop, and I'll be happy to address your questions. And the more young champions we have joining this mission, the better off we will all be.
Absolutely. I'm so kind of you to make yourself available even after even after the chat. We will, of course, hope to keep reaching out to you for more with the wealth of information that you have, and keep sharing back. Ajada, would you like to come in, share your thoughts?
Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Switch On team, for this opportunity. Work has always worked together as partner with your organization, and we really thank you for inviting us to be part of this. A lot of the schools that I saw, I've been interacted with Earth Day, and they commemorate Earth Day. So definitely my first message is to ensure that all of you sitting there do something for Earth Day on April 22nd next year to commemorate this day and expand on the environmental movement, because that's what is required right now to reach out to more people beyond us who are already having some level of awareness, to widen this outreach for environment and sustainability. And my last message would be, all of you do take one pledge, one action point, identify one action point with all the learnings that you have with the different sessions, one action point, and adopt that one action point to pursue it as more towards moving towards a low carbon lifestyle, adopting a more sustainable lifestyle. And trust me, it helps you, as I said, being more adopting sustainability makes you more healthier and happier, and that's what it works. So to adopt these practices and keep doing more of it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I think it's always, thanks Ajada, and thanks for that message. It's always great to have one point to start with, and of course, there's a lot to follow. Mananda, if you would like to come in, share one of your messages with the entire group.
Thank you so much for organizing this. It was the first time I got to speak with so many young minds. As somebody mentioned, these are young champions who are going to be saving the world. Today, even in climate change conferences like COP26, the people who are deliberating on it are 50, 60-year-olds who will make promises on behalf of us, but it's us who are supposed to do the work and save our planet for these young champions. So I think, as I also said during our session, like, this is the closest you get to being a superhero. So from this point onwards, I think everyone should look into the renewable industry and how you can do your bit to save the environment and also make money at the same time. So that's the great part about being in this space. So that's my message to everyone. Keep at it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that message. Arjun Bhai, if you can hear me, I can see you back.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
hi, Vinay.
Hi, Arjuna. One final message from you to the entire group.
A simple message: join the climate fight. We have 30 years to get to net zero. There are many interesting opportunities available. This is not only the most meaningful place to time and build a career, but also the biggest wealth creation opportunity that you will ever have in your lifetime is to work on climate. This is not a fashion, it is not a fad, it is here to stay. Climate action is here to stay until we get to net zero over the next 30 years at least, and then beyond, to sustain and maintain our lifestyles. So very meaningful and impactful area with a lot of business opportunity for all of us. Great career opportunities, and of course, getting to work with people like Vinay and some of the speakers that you heard today. So I hope you all consider that as a serious career option, and dropped a little link to entertain ourselves with a little rap song that I made on the climate fight as well.
Oh, nice. It's good to know you've created a rap song on that. Fantastic. So thank you so much. And I think what we've tried to do in this session is we've had roughly about 10, we've invited about 10 students from different schools from Bengal, Jharkhand, and mostly they've been about 4 or 5. Some have had, of course, more. But the idea is to take this message that all of you have given to a larger group, to their schools, to their colleges, and it's extremely important, as all of you mentioned. I mean, this is we have to there's an urgent need for all of us to take action around this. So thank you so much. And I think some people have been asking if there are links to give feedback. We will surely be getting back to all of the participants to collect feedback, to also see what you would like to see next and how would you like to participate in such programs and workshops. So we will surely be getting back. And it's a special day today. I mean, energy conservation, it's very, very close to my heart. I've, of course, worked in the energy sector for many years, but one thing that I truly believe in is that energy conservation, it can start with all of us in our homes, in our schools. It's the lowest hanging fruit. There's no better way for us to consider being part of a climate warrior or taking part in the climate action than look at energy conservation. So if there is anyone questions or questions really, any thoughts or comments, questions, I don't think we'll have the time, but any thoughts, comments? Otherwise, I'm sure you will there will be opportunities to share some of that. But no, I'm seeing in the chat box, I'm seeing it's been a wonderful conversation. People are asking about feedback links. We'll surely get back to you with feedback links, but we can maybe have, if anyone wants to also unmute and share something, feel free to do that. Otherwise, we will do a quick round of photography session. I'll request everyone to switch on their cameras and then we can do a quick, that's the best we can do in a virtual setting. So I'll request everyone to switch on your cameras. And once we've done that, it'll be nice to just have a quick photo session as memory's sake. Right, all of you looking lovely. And yeah, it's great to see the messages and comments coming out that it's been a very interesting, meaningful presentation. There were nice presentations. That's all nice to hear from all of you. Thank you so much. It's a great compliment to all our. So on the count of anyone has thoughts or comments, please feel free to ask. But on the count of 5, I'm going to start taking photographs. I'll move from screen to screen and take some photographs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll put your best smiles on. Lovely, all of you looking great. A few more photographs, and then I think we should be pretty much done. Fantastic. Just keep smiling. Put those. Keep wearing that smile. Yeah, all of you looking It's lovely to see all of you, these beautiful faces, that smile. Just give, I think we should pretty much be done by now. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. It was, thank you so much to, especially to all the students. Mostly, I think it's been schools and some college students, of course. Lovely interacting. I'm sure the speakers have had a lovely interaction with all of you. And thank you so much to all the speakers for taking out the time, making the time in the middle of the week or at the start of the week, Tuesday, to do this. Thank you so much, and tada, bye bye to everyone. Thank you. Take care.